TechBonds is here, and today we are going to check out the ASUS VivoBook Pro and see what it's got to offer, as well as how it performs through a number of benchmarks to help you to decide if it's a laptop you should consider. Inside the box we've got the laptop itself, manual and warranty information, power brick and power cable and mouse. To start, let's look at the specs of the model I have got here. This is an 8th gen laptop. There is an Intel i7-8750H, 6-core CPU which runs at 2.2 GHz and can turbo up to 3.9 GHz. I have got 16 GB of DDR4 memory running at 2400 MHz here. For the storage there is a 1TB Seagate 5400 RPM hard drive installed and solid-state drive SSD with 256 GB also installed. For the graphics we have got NVIDIA 1050 in combination with a 15.6-inch IPS display. And we will see how this performs later in benchmark. For the network connectivity, there is a Gigabit Ethernet port and dual-band 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, for up to 6 times faster than 802.11n speed, and Bluetooth 4.2. The laptop has this super brushed metallic look to it, both on the outside of the lid, and on the inside. After dealing with a bunch of black laptop lately, I admit it was a nice change. Each VivoBook Pro is featured a high-strength aluminum alloy milled. The physical dimension of the laptop are 38 cm in width, 25.6 cm in depth and 1.92 cm in height. The total weight of the laptop is advertising at 1.990 grams, and when testing mine, it's very close to this. When including power brick and power cable for charging, the total increased to around 2.5 kilograms, so it's fairly lightweight and portable for a 15-inch laptop. Mention the screen here is IPS matte panel. When you start looking from another angle the color doesn't shift a little, and it looks good because this is an IPS display. The panel looks right front on an 178-degree view angle. This feature is not on the 7th gen ASUS VivoBook Pro. This looks fine. And also the result of color produced by the screen by Spider 5 Pro is 62.5% sRGB, 45% NTSC, so in terms of color reproduction it seems to be pretty good. This laptop is fine for day-to-day life use, like gaming, design work, programming, watching high-quality movie and etc. While moving the display there was only a tiny bit of flex. It's fairly solid as the hinge runs along most of the base. Unfortunately you can't open the laptop with one finger. Too much of the weight seems to be placed towards the back which prevent this. Above the display, there is a HD camera. So it's only capable of 720p video at 30 frames per second. The camera's still fairly grainy even with decent lighting. The microphone sounds alright. The keyboard is chic-lit, and is illuminated with white LED, which can be adjustable between 3 brightness level. No option to change the color unfortunately. Overall I like typing on the keyboard, and the keys had plenty of spacing between each others. I think is why the number pad is fairly narrow for a 15-inch laptop. I have personally got no issues with that as I don't really use the number pad myself, but something to be aware of it that's important to you. There was some flex while pushing down hard on the keyboard, but this wasn't noticeable under normal typing condition. Overall it feels fairly solid. I also found the touchpad to work pretty well. It's got a very smooth surface and I had no problem using it. Although the whole touchpad is flat single surface, there are left and right buttons available. Accessing the VivoBook Pro has never been so safe and simple, which combined with the fingerprint sensor and Windows Hello feature. You no longer need to enter a password, just tap it with the finger to complete the login. Moving on to the available layer, on the left we have got the power input, Gigabit Ethernet port, a powered USB 3.1 type of port, HDMI 1.4 port, USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type-C port, DC jack port and no Thunder port. USB 3.1 Gen 1 port with USB Type-C, TM connector. The support data transfer up to 5 GB per second and put 4K UHD. On the right there are a couple of status of LED, SD card reader, combined 3.5mm headphone and mic jack, 2 USB 2.0 type of ports and Kensington jack. There is nothing at all on the front, and the same goes for the back, which is just more of that silver finish. Interior of the laptop did a great job at hiding fingerprint and the ones that you do. On the lid there is the ASUS logo which has a mirrored finish to it. These are fairly easy to clean. Beneath there's some air intakes to keep everything cool, as well as some rubber feet which both help to prevent the laptop from moving around on flat surface when in use. Also rise it up slightly to help let cool air in. The speakers are found on the bottom, towards the sides near their front, and I thought they sound pretty good for laptop speakers. There's a bit of bass and they sounded clear, even at high volume. This laptop equipped with Harman Kardon system, which equipped in BMW vehicles. Powering the laptop is a 47 watt-hour 3-cell battery, and with a full charge and doing basic tasks such as browsing the internet and watching YouTube with screen on around half brightness, keyboard lighting off and background app disable, I was able to use it for 3 hours and 18 minutes. While playing the PUBG with medium setting and NVIDIA battery boost set to 30 frames per second, the battery lasted for 1 hour and 18 minutes. Compared to other large and heavier 15-inch laptop that I have tested, the VivoBook did extremely well in gaming result, likely thanks to the lower powered loss graphics, and the key point is when we play game or designing or when we doing a load activity, if we plug in the charger, performance of the laptop will increase and give a better performance. During the normal use, with an ambient room temperature of 24 degrees Celsius, the CPU idled at 44 degrees Celsius. While the GPU idled at 43 degrees Celsius, and here are the external temperature of the laptop where you will actually be putting your hands. The CPU and GPU maxed out for half hour with the same room temperature. CPU reached a maximum of 95 degrees Celsius, while the GPU peaked at 79 degrees Celsius. ASUS VivoBook Pro built-in high battery can quickly charge up to 60% in just 49 minutes. The CPU got finally fairly hot and was there by around 5%. For this stopped if GPU load was removed. It only happened both fully utilized. We can see that keyboard area has warmed up quite a bit more, mostly toward the middle, and it was noticeable while typing, but not too bad. I also found the laptop fairly quiet when not gaming at idle. It sat around the 37 decibel mark and I could barely hear it. This is what it sounded like while maxing out at the CPU and GPU. It went up to 53 decibel. Which I have found pretty typically for most laptop, and hear what that sound like. The smart dual fans design is equipped with 8 segment that automatically adjusts speed to produce maximum heat dissipation and minimum noise. While I am aware that the 1050 isn't meant to be a serious gaming graphics card, I wanted to test some of my usual suite of game against it to see how it held up. Also, I don't personally have many low demanding titles. Finally, let's take a look at some user benchmark of GTX 1050 NVIDIA graphics card. This benchmark is a comparison between all the GPU graphics card. Effective speed of GTX 1050 is -161%. Average user bench is -159%. Peak overclocked bench is -168%. Value and sentiment is -6%. Nice to haves -180%. Even these all percent are a negative. We don't want to worry about that, because this GTX 1050 is good for gaming. The positive percentage mark plus will come only for all above the GTX 1070 graphics card, but that is too expensive and this is better for gaming. The average bench of GTX 1050 is 33.8%, that is 83rd of all 599 GPU graphics card. Finally, let's take a look at some benchmark. The average FPS, frame per second at 1080p with maximum detail setting for 12 popular games are shown here. For Counter-Strike Global Offensive is 115 frame per second. For Fortnite, 64 frame per second. For Battlefield 1, 43 frame per second. For World of Warcraft, 45 frame per second. For PUBG, 36 frame per second. For League of Legends, 132 frame per second. For The Witcher 3, 38 frame per second. For World of Tanks, 66 frame per second. For Grand Theft Auto, 39 frame per second. For Overwatch, 63 frame per second. For Dota 2, 80 frame per second. For Battlefield 4, 49 frame per second. Now let's go ahead and take a look on GTX 1050 that's shown here. GPU engine specs, memory specs, technology cal support, display support, graphics card dimensions, and thermal and power specs. Although they're a fairly intensive game, the 1050 didn't do too bad when using lower setting. For gaming, I generally recommend a 1060 as I have found that a great sweet spot for 1080p, 60 frame per second gaming. Also, it would probably be the minimum personally consider for gaming. Of course, it depends on the game that you'll be playing and how demanding they are. You can definitely still have a great experience with demanding games on 1050. For the final graphics benchmark I ran Firestrike, TimeSpy, SkyDrive and CloudGate from 3D Mark and I got score of 1924 for TimeSpy, 5744 for Firestrike, 18,965 for SkyDriver and 24,899 for CloudGate. So this lap performance is look fine and you can enjoy playing game. So similar to other laptop I have tested with the same specs. In Crystal Disk Mark, the SSD 256GB drive performed around 5,114 MB per second in sequential reads and 404 MB per second in sequential writes, so it was pretty good to use as the primary drive. Yourself it's not worth any amount of money saved. I bought this laptop in Taiwan. Taiwan is the country that made the ASUS laptop. At that time price was $1,500. With these exact specs, at the time of recording the laptop can be picked up in Taiwan for around $1,240. So what did you guys think of the VivoBook Pro 15 from ASUS? Overall I thought it was a nice little laptop, it feel pretty solid, has a decent battery life and lightweight, fingerprint, and making it great for traveling with it. The 1050 graphics make game even with more resource-intensive titles possible, although with medium setting. Just make sure to buy a portable DVD drive, if you need, because this lap don't have DVD drive. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment, or simply leave a like or dislike on the video, to let me know. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe for future Tech Bonds videos like this one and others.